Welcome to the Tower of Doom. Okay. All right. Tower of Doom guide video. So this is going to be your video if you want to understand what the Tower of Doom is, how you do it, why you do it, all that good stuff. So if you don't understand what Tower of Doom is, how to do it, this is your video. So if you jump into your guild menu into the Tower of Doom event, you're presented with a pretty normal event style window. However, what makes this guild event very specific and interesting is one, it restricts your color, so it forces you to use a very specific color, only one, for the entirety of the thing. So all of your troops need to be that color, your weapon does not. But then also, everybody in your guild gets the exact same setup as you do. So obviously everyone in the game is going to see a screen that looks like this, but what's unique to just your guild is what scrolls are going to exist in each of these rooms. So on every single floor in here, each of these rooms has exactly the same contents for everybody in your guild. And I'll talk through what all those scrolls are and what the scrolls do. However, you just need to know that your guild needs to be talking amongst yourselves as far as what's in each of these rooms. So that way people that are doing the event first can basically use all of their sigils to help the guild take more efficient path through the thing. So it's highly recommended. You have like a Google Sheet, you talk on Discord, you have something in guild chat, whatever method it is you guys want to use to talk amongst yourselves. Make sure that you're at least communicating what's in each of these rooms. Most guilds will send like a scout or two forward, so that way they use all of their sigils to just tell everybody what's in as many rooms as they can, and then someone else will pick it up from there. Whatever method you guys devise, definitely make sure you're talking amongst yourselves. I cannot express that enough. Whatever your guild is seeing in these rooms is going to be different than what other guilds see in their rooms. So you can't find some just cheat sheet for how this event is done. You have to be doing this within your guild. So with all that being said, extremely important that you're talking amongst yourselves. The rewards for this are pretty standard as far as events go. There's always a major, there's a bunch of regular orbs of chaos within here, there's some keys, there's some diamonds, there's some gems, all that fun stuff. So absolutely make sure you're trying to get this all the way completed. Within the shop, you always can jump in here and get your potions to make the fights a little easier for you. As always with all events, I recommend you get up to the weapon. Extremely of note is that all of these weapons are pretty cool. The damage weapons are extremely good. I rate them as like one of the top 5 like best value weapons in the game. Damage output's insane. They convert stuff into Doom Skulls. Super strong. The defensive versions of these Doom weapons are not nearly as exciting right now. I don't rate them very highly at all. However, there is murmurs of them potentially getting buffed in the future. So I would not skip any of these Doom weapons. Do make sure you're grabbing these. And then also what's of note is that in order to level them up, they do not take the same resources as everything else. They take these special scrolls, these light forged scrolls in this instance, since it's a yellow week. It's a yellow weapon. So make sure you're doing this event, because the only way you can power this weapon up is by actually participating in this event, or at a minimum just purchasing as many possible tiers as you can. Every single boss kill you do gets you one of these. However, the shop will allow you to get a bunch of these. And those scrolls, again, are used to power up the weapon. So that's why you want to be doing this event. You got to power up those super crazy awesome weapons, and you just get some other fun rewards along the way. So that kind of gets us to the scroll portion of the conversation. So like, what are these scrolls doing? What are they for? Which one should I avoid? Which one should I get? So most commonly, you'll run into these ones. So this is going to be your life scroll, your armor scroll, your attack scroll, your magic scroll. And this is like the boon counter section. So what this is telling you is that if you get a life scroll, that's going to add 1 to this little counter down here. And then eventually once this gets filled, your entire guild will get an extra stat point in that specific stat. So if you find X number of life scrolls, you'll go up 1 for everybody in the guild. So you're probably thinking to yourself, well, that's amazing. We can just, get a bunch of these scrolls and we'll have so many stats. And you're not wrong, that would be true. However, there's a different scroll in the game which will make you feel a lot more excited and interested. Again, you only get a certain number of sigils to actually do, and in order to get 1 scroll, you have to beat 1 room, which costs 1 sigil. So if you're trying to pick up every single room in the way, all the way up to 27, for instance, that would require over 100 sigils to do that. Actually, even more than that, because the boss room counts as a sigil as well. So you would really not be using your sigils efficiently if you just tried to go to every single room. You would have to buy a ton of tiers to get to where I am at currently, and collecting every single scroll along the way. Definitely not the right path you want to go. So the scroll that the game does give you, however, as a little, little bonus, is this power scroll. So the power scroll is something that basically gives you +1 to every single boon that's in the game. So when we look back at this screen, it gives you +1, +1, +1, +1 for just grabbing a single power scroll. So I strongly recommend, especially if you're a lower level guild or a guild that's like struggling through this event in general, make sure everyone's grabbing the power scrolls at a bare minimum, in addition to the unlock scrolls, of course. The power scrolls will just make your guild be a little bit more effective as you're running through. If your guild feels very confident that they're not necessary or not needed, by all means feel free to skip them. My guild currently decides to take them, however, I'm pretty positive we could go and do it without them. But either way, can't go wrong. Power scrolls are definitely the thing you would want to take over the other scrolls that are in the game. So that covers what the power scroll is all about. Another scroll that you could run into is the luck scroll. So the luck scroll is basically giving you +2 towards your guild total. So when you look at your rewards tab, it's counting how many dooms total your entire guild has killed. What the luck scroll is doing for you is just giving you +2 to that counter. What it is not doing, however, which is maybe a common misconception, it's not giving you any of these light forge scrolls. So you're not getting the rewards for killing a doom, for instance. You're just getting credit for the doom kills for your reward's sake, if that makes sense. So luck is something that you should absolutely be grabbing from your guild's perspective. That will help you guys get to the maximum number of rewards that are available in the Tower of Doom. So by all means, grab all the luck scrolls you can find. Just again, know that they're not helping you build up your light forge scroll total or your forge scroll totals in general. They're just helping you for the rewards tab specifically. So luck scrolls are also in the game, also pretty cool. Strongly recommend you grab those as you go about. The other two that you can run into are this Fireball scroll and the Heroism scroll. So Fireball basically just kills one of the non-boss rooms, so any one of these that are in here, you just beat them and then you use the scroll and you're great. You use the scroll to beat them, I should say. So if you don't feel like doing one of these fights, by all means use a Fireball scroll. I strongly recommend, if you are getting Fireball scrolls, to save them until the very, very high levels of the game. Don't just be using these whenever you feel like it. Save these for when you get to the higher floors. That is going to be probably around level 15 for some people, around level 20 for others. That's when the fights start to feel a little bit more complicated and really stress your team a bit. But basically, once you start to struggle with your fights and you're losing consistently, that's when Fireball scrolls are your thing. So collect them, use them, that's what they're for. Heroism is the same idea, only it lets you do the same idea for a boss. So Heroism scrolls are specifically to just destroy a boss without having to do the fight. So if you're running into a fight that's specifically very complicated, by all means use a Heroism scroll and just bypass it altogether. Things you need to look out for as you're doing all these fights. So there's things like Spirit Fox or Astral Spirit, which are empowered troops that do true damage right off the bat. At the higher level floors, they'll just kill you in one shot. So sometimes that is a very good candidate to use for Fireball. Same deal when you're doing the actual boss fights. It could potentially be one of those as well. You could also run into like the Gloomleaf, who sits in the top slot, who's actually just reflecting all the skull damage you're doing. So if you were running like a Mang lineup, for instance, suddenly you just kill yourself every single time you try and kill the top troop. So that's another decent opportunity to be using something like a Heroism. But that's what those two scrolls are about. And then finally, the last scroll to talk about is the Haste Scroll. So the Haste Scroll is a little interesting in that if you go to a room, it costs a sigil to fight in that room. So you have to spend a sigil to do the fight. And then when you complete the fight, the reward is a Haste Scroll. And what the Haste Scroll does is give you a sigil. So basically, if I had one sigil, I would do this fight to go down to 0. I would beat the fight with the Haste Scroll, and then I'd gain 1. So it's like that fight just never happened. So what's the point of the Haste Scroll is probably what you're thinking. Well, the point of the Haste Scroll is that you might fight a Raven. So if you do run into a Raven while you're doing a Haste Scroll fight, it's obviously just a free Raven that you would have potentially missed out on otherwise. So my recommendation with Haste Scrolls is do the Haste Scroll rooms up to the levels where you feel not comfortable. So if level 15 starts to feel uncomfortable, you should be doing every single Haste room up to level 15 and then maybe start to consider skipping them, because you might just lose the fight and then you wasted a sigil doing nothing essentially. So that's my recommendation with Haste Scrolls. Always do them if you know you're going to win the fight. Maybe consider skipping them if the fights are too hard for you and it's just not going to get you any reward by completing it. But that's everything that's going on as far as the fights are concerned. So again, make sure you're talking amongst your guild, make sure you're letting everybody know what's in each of these rooms, have scouts let everybody in the guild know, they're blowing all their sigils so people in your guild can be more efficiently using theirs. So by all means, that's what's going on. Talk amongst yourselves, use some method of communicating. That's what's going on in the Tower of Doom. So hopefully that kind of gave you a pretty decent primer as to what's going on, what's in there, how to do it, all that fun stuff. The last thing that I'll mention is just that the Forge Scrolls that I mentioned, these things here that are used to power up the weapons, they stop dropping on every boss fight once you get to floor 25. So floor 25 will drop the last Forge Scroll in the Tower of Doom, and then every fight after that for the boss rooms just drop you some random other scroll. So again, if you're trying to max that, just know that after floor 25, you're no longer acquiring any of the Forge Scrolls. You'll have to get them through the shop itself. But that is everything that's in the Tower of Doom. So hopefully that helped you understand what's going on. Hopefully your guild is coordinating amongst themselves, all that good stuff. So this is Keylime signing off. I'll talk to you guys later. Like, subscribe, all that other fun stuff. Okay, bye.